So in today's video, we have some really exciting stuff to show off here, as I have actually been given access to the new fictional BMW X5s. Now, I do just want to point out before I start this video that there are going to be 22 trims that come along with this vehicle, but obviously that is a lot of trims to review, so I am only reviewing 7 of them, but these are still pretty cool regardless. Anyway, so before we get into today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 19.9k subscribers. We are getting ever so closer to 20k, so it would be massively appreciated if you guys could leave a like and subscribe. And for those guys who would like to join my Discord server, that is in the description below. For those guys who want to see all my future content and all Greenville's update information. But anyways, without any more talking, let's get straight into today's video. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start off here with some visual differences. So first of all, something that has changed compared to other fictional BMW models that are currently in the game is the grille, obviously. And it is now a lot more reminiscent of an actual BMW grille, thankfully. And now we will no longer have to deal with that like sort of weird looking square grille that we had for a bit. And yeah, it's finally back to normal pretty much. Anyways, as you guys can see here, the headlights are extremely detailed, being 3D. And it's actually got like a little decal in there. Yeah, it's very nice. Some other trims have a more basic sort of headlight design without that decal and any of the blue accents and whatnot. Additionally, some of the trims actually have a blacked out grille, whereas others just have a basic sort of silver grille. Also, there is a camera at the front as well, which I find to be a cool detail. For the rear end of the vehicles, the main differences are to do with the exhaust. As you guys can see, they look quite different between these two trims, for example. And also some of the reflectors have different designs as well, as you guys can see. Furthermore, some trims do have stuff like roof racks and roof boxes. One of the trims also has a bike on the rear end of it as well. But yeah, for the most part, apart from some other very minute differences, that is pretty much it. So now actually discussing what all of these trims are. First up, we have the Y50 all-wheel drive 50T, and this is the IV trim with the bike and the roof box. Then we have the Y50 W50T, and this is based on an M performance trim. Then we have the Y50 rear-wheel drive 40T, which is a normal X5. Then we have the Y50 W50D M performance trim. Then we have the Y50W, which is a normal M trim. And then right here we have the Y50 all-wheel drive 45TE, which is the IV trim with a roof box on top of it. And we have the Y50W, which is my personal favorite, and this is an M competition trim. Okay, so now getting into driving these things. First up here, I am going to start off with the IV trim with the bike and the roof box. Definitely going to be one of the most hyped up trims here, as I mean, it has the most stuff on it. However, I don't think it is the best performing trim, so that could be a letdown for some people. Anyway, starting off here with a startup test. Not too bad whatsoever. One thing that I did notice is there is a little chime when you start it up, as you guys can hear, which is actually very interesting in my opinion. Definitely a cool startup though. I haven't really heard anything like it before. Then we are going to have the rev test right here. Nothing really surprising, to be honest, pretty average. Next up here, we have the headlight test. Not bad whatsoever. Very nice, actually, some cool detail. Then we have the brake test. As you guys can see, it looks very clean. And then we have the blinker test here, which is very good. On the front end as well, looks super nice. And also the horn test. So yeah, pretty standard. Next up here, we have the Y50 W50T M performance trim. So starting this thing up right here. Seems to have the same startup as the last trim. Overall, a pretty good startup though, I can't really complain. Then we also have the horn test. Essentially the exact same as the last trim as well. And then a rev test. Much the same once again. Then we have the blinker test on the rear end. As you guys can see, it looks pretty nice. On the front end as well. Also, I do just want to point out before I move on, my ping is pretty high right now, so no, the blinkers will not actually be that laggy when it comes to the game. That is just my connection. And then we also have the headlight test right here. Once again, pretty much the exact same. And the brake lights. Then moving on to the Y50 rear-wheel drive 40T, aka the normal X5. So with the startup test right here. Once again, the same startup as before. Very nice though. I actually kind of dig the startup despite it being super simplistic. Rev test. I actually feeling, I don't know if it's tripping, I feel like the engine sounds might be slightly different on this. And actually, yeah, I did just test. The engine sounds are actually completely different on this trim. So that's actually very interesting. I honestly didn't even notice that until I compared it. Then we got the rear brake right here. And the headlights, as you guys can see. Once again, very cool. Then the rear blinker test right here. Pretty much the same as all the other trims. And the front blinker test as well is actually slightly different. Instead, it's actually on the sides this time, instead of being along the top right here. So that's an interesting observation. And as for the horn, that is exactly the same. Now for the Y50 W50D M performance trim. Starting this thing up here, it sounds like this. So I'm pretty sure that is the exact same startup as the last M performance trim that I just showed off. Same for the rear end as well. Well, that's actually kind of cool. That's like a backfire sound. For the horn right here, is the exact same. Now we have the rear blinker test right here. Very nice. And the front blinker test is back to being at the top again. Now moving on to the Y50W trim, which is just a normal M trim. And this color is actually kind of sick, I can't even lie. Anyway, starting this thing up here. Sounds pretty nice on the rev test. That's actually quite a cool sound. I don't think that sound was on the other trim, so that's pretty cool. And then we got the horn test. Once again, same as all the other trims. Then we got the headlight test right here, and the brake light test, and then the blinker test as well, which, yeah, once again is lined across the top. So, yeah, very interesting. Then another great looking trim here, which is the Y50 all-wheel drive 45T E trim, which is an IV trim with a roof box on it. Alright, now, the interesting thing about this one is that it's actually an electric vehicle, so it won't actually make any startup sound, but here it is. It does still have that chime, as you guys can hear, though. And then for the rev test right here, which, yeah, I can't actually rev it. For the horn, that is still the exact same as the other trims. And then the brake light test right here is pretty nice. Now, for some reason, the headlights will not turn on for me, but they should be the same as the other trims. And for the blinkers, once again, they actually have gone back to the side again, which is pretty interesting. Same for the rear end as well. And then moving on to my personal favorite trim here, which is the Y50W, aka the M competition trim, in yellow right here. First up, we have the startup test. Then we have the rev test. Very, very nice. And the horn test, which I'm assuming sounds the same as all the other horns. Then we have the headlight test right here. Once again, the same as all the other headlights. Same for the brake lights. Then we got the rear blinkers right here, which, yep, are the same. And the front blinkers right here, which once again, yeah. And yeah, that pretty much covers all of that stuff for these vehicles. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to driving these vehicles, which is probably the most exciting part of the video. And once again, starting off here, we are going to be driving off the Y50 all-wheel drive 50T trim, aka the IV trim with the roof box and the bike at the back. Alright, so let's pull out of the DMV right here. So yeah, definitely it feels pretty good so far. It has a nice amount of roll, as you guys can see. Definitely doesn't feel slow whatsoever. Got some very good braking on it actually as well, I can see. But yeah, dude, I just love how this thing looks, especially with all the like details and whatnot. Now, I don't have specific pricings for these trims, unfortunately. However, I don't imagine they would be like too unreasonably priced whatsoever. But yeah, it's probably the best fictional BMW that we've gotten so far. Also has some very nice suspension, as you guys can see right there. Actually is very good. I'm assuming that will also be the same for the other trims too. But yeah, as you guys can see, wow, that's great. Overall though, this thing does seem to drive great just for like, you know, basic driving purposes. This is probably definitely going to become a very popular, you know, luxury daily driver vehicle. Anyway, so I think it is time now to get onto that 0 to 60 test. So in 3, 2, 1, go. And wow, that was actually an amazing launch. What? Dude, that actually went so fast. And yeah, within literally no time whatsoever, we are at 60 miles per hour. Dude, what the heck? That was so fast. I'm just going to move straight onto the top speed test, honestly. I want to have a look at that launch again. This is crazy, man. I think this is like one of the best launches that I've had so far for like any vehicle that I've actually reviewed. All right, so we're heading up to 100 miles per hour now, as you guys can see. And it looks like we might top out at around 140 or 150 miles per hour. It looks like we're going to, yeah, max out at around 155, 56 miles per hour. That is not bad whatsoever. Next up on the list to drive, we have the Y50W50T, which is the M Performance trim. Pretty nice, like, beige looking color here, as you guys can see. Looks wise, obviously, it is pretty plain, but I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people will like that because, you know, not everyone wants to have a bunch of, like, different accessories on their vehicle. You know, and I think this looks pretty nice. So, yeah, once again, the overall driving seems to be pretty similar. The suspension seems to be pretty much, if not the exact same as well, which is nice. Yeah, all of that stuff seems to be the same. I think the main difference will probably be in the performance, hopefully. Yeah, overall, once again, a very nice daily driver. So, anyways, moving on to the 0 to 60 test here in 3, 2, 1, go. Once again, a amazing launch right there. Pretty much like right at 30 miles per hour as soon as we launched off there. I feel like that was definitely a lot quicker than the last trim that I just reviewed. Once again, this thing has some immaculate braking on it too. Super good stuff here. I'm just going to push this thing straight up to the top speed and see what we get. I think it might be somewhat similar to the last trim, but I definitely feel like this thing does accelerate faster overall though. And yeah, I think we'll probably max out at around, yeah, 156 miles per hour once again. Next up right here, we have the Y50 rear-wheel drive 40T, aka the just regular stock X5. It still obviously looks very premium, you know, and just driving out of the lot right here, it still seems like it has some very good, you know, performance and whatnot. Anyways, going straight into the 0 to 60 test here, not wasting any time. In 3, 2, 1, go. A great launch right there. I'm actually so, like, happy with how good this thing launches. It's actually insane. And yeah, once again, right at 60 miles per hour there already. And I'm honestly just going to push the thing all the way up to top speed. Very interested to see if this thing does actually go faster than the other trims. And actually it doesn't. It only goes 151 miles per hour, which is actually around 5 miles per hour slower. So never mind. I guess I was wrong. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I was kind of worried for a second since, you know, it would kind of, you know, be a bit weird for the base trim for this thing to, you know, go faster than the performance trims, for example. Yeah, still not bad whatsoever though. Next up here, we have the second M Performance trim, which in-game is called the Y50 W50D M Performance. This one right here is in a nice shade of black, as you guys can see. Very sleek looking, to say the least. Alright, let's get straight on here with the 0 to 60 test here in 3, 2, 1, go. I love the launch on this thing. I know I keep saying it every single time, but it's just so good, man. I mean, look at that. We're already at 60 miles per hour like nothing. And once again, I'm just going to push this thing straight up to top speed here, not wasting any time. And yeah, we seem to be climbing up pretty good here. And it looks like we are going to top out at 156. Oh, 57. Oh, we got to 57. So this is actually 1 mile per hour faster than every other trim that I've reviewed so far. That's probably just an accident, to be completely honest, but I mean, hey, I'm going to take it. Now we have this very interesting maroon colored trim right here, which in game is called the Y50W. And this is actually just a regular M trim. So I'm definitely interested to see how this thing actually performs out on the road. Now I have to say, literally driving this thing out of the lot, for some reason it seems to have a lot better performance than the other trims. Okay, we're going to start off with the 0 to 60 test right here. I'm actually very excited to see how this thing goes. So in 3, 2, 1, go. Amazing launch right there, and we are already at 60 miles per hour. Super quick right there. And once again, I'm just going to push this thing straight to the top speed here. I hope we get a higher top speed than the other trims, and yeah, we actually are. So we have gone all the way up to 177 miles per hour. That is actually an insane boost in power, if you had to ask me. Next up here, we have a very interesting trim, and this is the Y50 all-wheel drive 45TE. Okay, the electric trim out of the bunch. This one does also have a roof box on it, which is super cool. But yeah, so I'm very interested to see how this thing performs, considering that it is an electric vehicle. Alright, so getting straight into the 0 to 60 test here in 3, 2, 1, go. And that is probably the saddest launch I have seen so far out of this vehicle. That is not too good whatsoever. I mean, we're still not even at 60 miles per hour. It's pretty much just like a snail right here. Okay, we finally did it. That probably took like 2 to 3 times longer to get to 0 to 60 at least than the other trims did, so not very good there, to say the least. A bit disappointed, but I mean, hey, what do you expect? So I'm gonna try and hopefully get this thing to top speed. I don't know if it'll even be able to do it by the end of this road, to be completely honest. And the top speed seems to be about 151 miles per hour. I mean, I guess it's not horrible. It just takes so long to get there, to the point where it's not even funny. I literally had to drive up and down this road like 3 times to even be able to get up to there. So I mean, the chance of you even be able to reach that in the first place is pretty unlikely. Now the last trim here is the Y50W, aka the M competition trim, which is probably the trim that most of you guys have been waiting for. Obviously, I am really hoping this thing has some amazing performance on it, since if I had to guess, at least it's probably going to be the most expensive trim out of the bunch. So far though, it seems to be extremely powerful. Right, so let's get on to the 0 to 60 test here in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, pretty mid launch right there, I can't even lie. I mean, it was good, but compared to the other times, it wasn't the greatest. However, that 0 to 60 was still extremely fast. Not really any major complaints there. And then I'm just going to push this thing straight to top speed right here. As you guys can see, it accelerates extremely fast, thankfully, compared to the last trim once again, which absolutely sucked in that regard. And we seem to top off at about 177 miles per hour. So actually the same as the other trim that I reviewed. To be honest, I didn't really expect anything more out of it. I think that is a perfectly acceptable top speed. Yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 19.9k subscribers. If we can get to 20k subscribers by the end of this month, that would be so amazing. Yeah, thank you guys so much for all the massive support. I honestly appreciate it so much. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this car review. It's definitely one of the coolest cars that I've reviewed in a minute, I'd say. And it's definitely the one that I'm probably looking one of the most forward to in this update. So yeah, once again, let me know on your guys' opinions on it. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be right back.